Hello YouTube. In this video series, I'm going to be attempting a Linux from scratch build. I've been wanting to attempt an LFS build for a while and just never found the time. And now I have. I think it should be interesting to understand how everything goes together. And I also think it would be beneficial to document the learning process as someone that hasn't attempted it before. I'm going to be going through this chapter by chapter and modeling my way through it. So this is going to be pretty raw, and I'm probably going to make a lot of mistakes. And hopefully, other people will learn something from this, and hopefully, I'll learn something myself. And we should, if we're lucky, get a working LFS system by the end. The first thing that we're going to need to build an LFS system is an already installed Linux distribution. The other requirement is a new Linux native partition. I don't want to have to make room on my host system for partition, as I'll have to repartition a drive, which, because I've got an encrypted partition, etc., will mean essentially reinstalling it from scratch. I don't want to have to do all that, and it's pain. So I'm going to use the previously installed Debian virtual machine that I used for the original series, how I use Debian. It's already set up. There's the machine's pretty clean. There's no dump on there, so I think it should be pretty good. So another thing I'm going to mention is that the Linux from Scratch book comprises of several chapters. I think 8 or 9 in total. I'm going to follow the book through from chapter 2 to the final chapter. I'm going to skip chapter 1 because it's essentially an introduction to the rest of the book and some general pointers. I have read it. I'm just going to skip it in these videos because it's not directly relevant to what we're doing, and I don't think it would serve any purpose for me to just read the pages. So we're going to start at chapter 2. Right, we're going to be starting with chapter 2. As previously mentioned, chapter 1 is basically intro to the course. I'm not going to go over that because I don't think that's going to really help anybody. So we're just going to go to the introduction of chapter 2. And it says, in this chapter, the host tools needed for the building the LFS are checked and if necessary installed. Then a partition, which will host the LFS system, is prepared. We will create the partition itself, create a file system on it, and mount it. So this is all about just making sure we've got things in place before we do anything else. So let's just go to the next page. And there's quite a lot. I'm not going to read all of it. So the LFS editors recommend that the system CPU have at least 4 cores and the system have at least 8 gigabytes of memory. Older systems that do not meet these requirements will still work, but the time to build packages will be significantly longer than documented. I've given this 4 cores and 8 gigs, and we can just check that by going to settings. We've got 8 gigabytes, we've got 4 cores, and this is the host CPU is a 5950X, so it's quite a fast CPU. So we're good on that part with the VM. And what we're going to be doing first is we've got to check all these packages, and these are a list of packages that we're going to need to be able to basically do anything. I'm not going to go through these exhaustively because there's really not a lot of point. The Linux kernel in Debian is like is version 6.1, I believe. So it's far higher than 5.4, and you can see this by It's Linux 6.1, AMD 64. So that's good. Got that. And there's some basically it needs certain versions that it needs at least this version of the kernel. We've got a better version of the kernel, so we don't really have to worry about it. We're not filing a new kernel or anything like that. We're just using the basic Debian kernel. All of this is usually just set. And then there's some other packages. I'm not going to go through these exhaustively. These are just standard packages that are usually installed in the system. And they have a actual tool here, which will basically it's just a bash script that basically checks the versions of everything and make sure you've got everything installed. So what we're going to do, we're just going to actually just run this. We're just going to copy and paste this in. I've already read this script, so I sort of like know what it does. So we're just going to copy that. We're going to paste that in and press enter. And if we do ls, we've got the version check.sh. So we're just going to run that. So, and it says we cannot find Bison. So pretty much everything's okay. And it's complaining about certain things not being there. So we need to see if we can get Bison. Now, I think we can just probably install this via app. So let's just do sudo app. We can do app search Bison. And that wasn't what I was expecting at all. Bison plus plus, Bison. So I think it's just sudo apt install Bison. Install Bison. Got that. Let's just run the version check again. Cannot find Gork. So let's just see it's sudo apt install Gork. Okay. And so it's got an error is cannot find texe2ne. So we need to install that. Apt install texe2ne. And I'm not sure what this package is at all or what it does. Can't find it. Am I spelling it right? Text info, okay. So that looks like text info. So let's just try installing that. I don't really know what I'm doing here. So let's just go back up. So this is text info. Okay, that's fine. So let's just install that. And we're just going to do the version check. Now, this is all okay. Says sh is not bash. So what does that mean? Alias check sh bash. Okay. Not sure what that means. So we're just going to Google it. Right, so this is just a forum post. I don't. It's suggesting I sim link it, so I don't want to do that. Um, right, looks like we can basically set an environment variable. So let's just set that to see if it still doesn't like it. I'm going to just see if we can get away with it. Um, uh, right, so what this is saying, post requirements. So let's just go back to, I had my history open there. Um, let's try ln bash. Oh, that's my local bin, not the actual bin. Uh, so, so what I'm trying to do is just get rid of the warning essentially. Um, right, so it's pointing to dash. So Big Dash is a slightly faster version of Bash. I'm going to see if we can get away with it. So we'll just see what happens. So we're just going to leave that for the minute. And what we'll do is we'll do the go on to the next page, and it's building LFS in stages. LFS is designed to be built in one session. That is, the installation assumes that the system will not be shut down during the process. This does not mean that the system has to be built in one sitting. The issue is that certain procedures must be repeated after a reboot when reassuming LFS at different points. So, in chapters 1 to 4, these chapters are run commands on the host system. When restarting, be certain of one thing: procedures performed as the root user after section 2.4 must have the LFS environment variable set for the root user. Okay. So, which is basically the next section. We'll come back to this because we're not going to get to chapters 5 and 6 tonight. So let's just go next. Like most other operating systems, so this is creating a new partition. And it's basically saying, like most other operating systems, LFS is usually installed on a dedicated partition. The recommended approach is to build in LFS systems, use the available empty partition, or if you have one, enough unpartitioned space to create one. A minimal system requires a partition around about 10 gigabytes. This is enough to install the source tarballs and compile packages. However, if the LFS system is tend to be a primary Linux system, and additional software will probably be installed to require extra space. A 30 gigabyte partition is a reasonable size provided to provide for growth. So I've already read some of this. Um, and what we're going to do is I'm going to so I've created a virtual disk that's 30 gigabytes in size. So if we do LSBRK, there's a 30 gig disk. So so we're just going to do sudo su, and we've basically become the root user. And the next thing we're going to do, we're going to run fdisk, and I haven't run fdisk in years, so this is going to be pretty interesting. Fdisk, and it's let's just do lsblk again, because and it's VDB, so that is the disk, and we're going to create two partitions. Right, so we're just going to create a root partition and swap partition, by the looks of it. So the swap partition, just reading through here. Right, so generally, this is old advice. If I had a swap partition on my host machine, it'll be like 128 gigabytes, which is like ridiculous. If the disk space is limited, hold a swap partition for 2 gigabytes and monitor the amount of disk swaps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 28 gig root partition and a 2 gig swap partition. I think we should be okay. We're just going to go with that for the moment, and if we have to change it later, we'll have to deal with it. So we're going to do fdisk, and I think it's fdisk. It'll be dev. What is it? vd b vd b, and this is M for help. So this is just the fdisk utility, and I think we want to add a new partition, so it's N for new, I'm guessing, and we're going to make it's a primary partition. Oh, actually, let's just quit that. Nope. So I think we need to make a new GDP partition, and this is based off of some stuff I read earlier on the partitioning, which I have now lost, of course. What does it say here? When it in the installation, there are two issues: the partition table organization of partition. A default install some distributors still used in. Appreciate them after. Yeah, I don't care about this. Um, I'm just going to see if we can get away with not doing a lot of this. And yeah, so what he recommends, I'm assuming it's a he. The way I recommend installing the host is either use a bootable device and use fdisk or gdisk from the installation to create a GPT layer similar to this. So right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a G. I'm going to do N, and partition number, I guess it's 1. First sector, yeah. And this is, I think I can just do plus 28G. Yeah, so that looks about right. And then we're going to make another partition, 2, and and yeah, so 2 GB in size. So if we just print that, and if we just go help, I think I need a market swap. What? Oh, it's M for help, not H for help. T change to partition type. 2, so we'll do L, and I think it's should be Linux swap, so 19. So can we have to go through all of them? I was going to just quit that. So it's 19. We print that again. Linux file system, and then it probably should have. Let's just do T again. 1. Linux root, so 23. So there we go. So Linux root, Linux swap. That looks good to me. So we're going to write that. And if we do lsblk again, we have a 28 gig disk and a 2 gig disk. So that's good. So we've created the 2 partitions. And let's see if we need to do anything else. So oh, did I make a mistake? Right, I'm gonna leave the grub stuff because I think I can use the one in Debian to boot it. So I'm not gonna use any convenience partitions. Right, so I probably feel like I've done this wrong already. So we're just gonna create a file system. So we're just gonna do make fs. It's just ext4. I'm just going to put everything on a root file system. I don't think we need to have a separate boot. And then this is VDB. So what we're doing here, we're just creating a file system on the on this particular partition. That's done, and then we're going to do make swap dev. What was it? BDB2. Did I put that? Yeah. BDB2. Right. Right. So that's done. And so once there's export an environment variable. So this is what they previous said, that if you shut down the system and come back to this, what you're going to find is that this environment variable won't be set. This would also be true if I just killed the terminal now. So it's LFS, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this in a text file because I'm probably going to lose this. So we're just going to. I didn't need a new one. So what is it? Yeah. So what it's telling us here. Let's just read it quickly because I'm skipping through bits because I've read bits of this before and this won't be helpful. So it says throughout this, but the environment variable LFS will be used several times. You should ensure that the variable is always defined through the LFS build process. It should be set to the name of the directory where you'll be building your LFS system. We will use mount LFS as an example, but you may choose any directory name you want. If you are building LFS on a separate partition, this directory will be the mount point for the partition. Choose a directory location and set the variable name with the following command. Having this variable set is beneficial in the commands such as make dir -v LFS tools can be typed literally. So automatically replace LFS with mount LFS. Did we? Oh, well, did I miss something? So what I'm going to do is just put this in here. Export LFS equals mount LFS. And we're just going to save that as environment file. Text. Let's just save that. And I think we need to make this directory. So what we're going to do is first we're going to need to make the LFS, and then we're going to export it. LFS equals. So this is just an environment variable that will be in the shell. And if we do echo LFS, make sure that's set. So let's mount LFS. That's great. And then we're going to do a Umask. I forgot what this does. So, and so now set the file creation mode Umask to 22, just in case the host history is using a different default. So probably want that in our text file that we just made. This channel is called Jankware for a reason. So let's just check the Umask. Right, so that it's just asked us here. It's asking us. Yeah, so setting the Umask 022 ensure that newly created files and directories are only writable by the owner, but are readable and searchable only for directories by anybody. Assuming the default modes are used by the Open2 system call. This is and we'll end up with the permission mode 644 and the directories mode 755. An overly permission default can leave security holes in the LFS system, and an overly restricted default can cause strange use of building or using the LFS system. Okay. I already did that. So this is just saying, just check the variables are correct, and we have. So I'm just going to clear this terminal. And now we just need to mount the partition. So oh, I've already made this, but I think this might hurt to run again. And then we need to mount the partition. Dev, what was it? VDB1. That's LFS. Right. That looks good. Right. So right, so what it's asking us to do here is, yeah, so I'm going too quick again. So what's happening is that we create the mount point, which already did in the previous section. And then we mount it, which is what I just did. So we mount that partition so Debian can actually access it. And this has got some instructions for the multiple partitions. Now, it asks to set the owner permission mode to the LFS directory, the root directory in newly created file system for the LFS system to root in 775 in case the host restore has been configured to use a different default for make FS. Okay. So we just run this. And what this is doing is it's just changing the. So if you do man. So chown changes or change is change owner basically, change file owner or group, and all that is doing is changing the owner to root. That's all that's doing. So we just need to do root, and then it's $LFS, and then chmod. I forgot what chmod does. I'm not much of a Linux expert, am I? Change file modes and bits. This manual documents change the file mode bits of each given file according to the mode. And the mode is basically a set of permissions, essentially. I think it's read, execute, and read, write, and execute. And there's ones for group user, etc. So you need to do chmod 755, and then it's LFS. You can look up what these are. I'm not going to do that here because it's outside the scope of this video, and I think it's going on long enough. And the next thing to do, if you sort that enable using the swap on command. Right, so it's all this. Right, run the mount command without any parameters, see what the options are set for the mounted LFS partition. So let's just do that. And oh god. If no SUID and no deficit set, the partition must be remounted. So that is the thing, and it's just got read, write, and real time. I'm not sure what it does. People can look that up in their own time. Right, so what this is telling us here, that if we restart, this mounted partition won't be mounted anymore. So I have to go through this process again, which doesn't really take that long. or basically add it to your STAB. We're not going to do it to STAB because I'm going to save the machine configuration for next time. So if you're using a swap partition, ensure that it's enabled using swap on command. Okay, so that would be sbin, and that's swap on, and I think that is vdev, and that is vdb2. I keep thinking it's sdb because it's usually sdb or something similar. vdb2. Right, that looks like it's worked. Right, and we're on to chapter 3, and what we're going to do, we're going to pause there. So hopefully, me muddling my way through chapter 2, and I haven't made any mistakes with the partitioning. So we'll probably find out later on, and maybe I'll have to redo the chapters. And such is life. So what we're going to do, we're going to stop there, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.